Nestled in the heart of the Midwest, Great Bend, Kansas was a quaint town largely unknown to the outside world until the faithful afternoon of Wednesday, September 4, 2002. Little did anyone suspect that by nightfall this unassuming community would become the focal point of a gripping tale capturing national attention. In the midst of rush hour, on one of the town's bustling main intersections, a sequence of mysterious and unsettling events unfolded. This is the story of Mandy Alexander and Mary Drake. The Dolly Madison Bakery, located at 1004 Harrison Avenue, was situated on one of the busiest intersections in town. Known locally as the Day-Old Bread Store, it was a place to go for overstocked and baked goods that were identified by stores or the manufacturer as too close to the pull date. Sold at deep discounted prices, the store was a favorite among those living on reduced incomes. While the store didn't generally have a lot of cash on hand due to the low price of its products, the store did have a history of being robbed and was considered an easy target. On the day of the murders, 24-year-old Mandy Alexander was beginning her third day of work as a clerk at the bakery. Mandy, a single mother, had had some struggles, but she had recently found a church, gotten the job at the bakery, and it seemed her life was taking a turn for the better. Not originally scheduled to work that night, Mandy was filling in for another employee who had a family emergency. Even though it was only Mandy's third day on the job, bakery manager Carol Williams felt Mandy was doing well, and she left at 5:20 p.m. after making a bank deposit across the street, leaving Mandy alone to work the bakery and close up. 79-year-old Mary Drake was a 4'11" grandma, who by all accounts was a strong, loving, and fiercely independent woman who enjoyed playing cards and spending time with her family. Mary had stopped to pick up her granddaughter for a trip to the Day-Old Bread Store. Fortunately, no one was home, and Mary made the trip to the Dolly Madison Bakery alone. She could have easily been with Grandma, and things could have been much, much worse. Alyssa Drake Mong, Mary's granddaughter, said in a 2022 interview. Sometime around 6:30 p.m., a Dolly Madison truck driver arrived at the store. It was off his normal route, but he had been dispatched to pick up some bakery racks. When he arrived, he found a car blocking his access to the side of the bakery. He tried the front door and was surprised to find it locked. He called his wife, telling her of the situation and stating that he was going to go get some dinner and perhaps the car would be gone when he returned. The driver returned just after 7 p.m. to find the car still blocking his access. Irritated, he walked around to the back of the store where the racks were stored and began wheeling them to his truck. At some point, a customer approached the driver and stated that he was there to pick up an order of buns and the front door was locked. After some calls back and forth between the truck driver and his dispatcher, the driver was instructed to use his key to gain entry through a garage door and help the customer locate his order. Together, the driver and the customer entered the back of the store. Shortly after entering, the customer, looking around for his order, spotted a pool of blood in the office area. Without investigating, he left the building. The truck driver entered the office, finding the bodies of Mandy Alexander and Mary Drake. At 7:55 p.m., he called the Great Bend Police Department. The Great Bend Police responded to the bakery just before 8 p.m. Upon arrival, they found Mandy and Mary dead in the office area. It appeared they had been killed with a sharp object. According to witnesses at the scene, it appeared the police were unsure of what to do. Police Chief Dean Akings and Bruce Meller, who was in charge of the Kansas Bureau of Investigation lab, were in Missouri at an FBI National Academy meeting. It would take them 6 hours to get to the scene. In the meantime, there were conflicting reports of what happened. Witnesses claimed that numerous people were allowed into the crime scene. However, police deny this, stating they immediately secured the scene and called for assistance from the KBI. Police had trouble finding a motive. Very little money was taken from the business. Mary's purse and wallet were still on the counter. They also considered that Mandy was going through a custody battle at the time, but her ex-husband had an alibi. Not to mention that no one knew Mandy was working that night. An unidentified witness described seeing a white male 30 to 35 years old, approximately 6'1", 6'2", weighing 175 pounds, having collar-length light blonde to brown hair and a slight beard, walking away from the front door of the bakery, and a composite sketch was developed. Because this witness has never been identified, it has been widely speculated that the witness was a kid, or perhaps a teenager. Police theorized that the killer was a transient who spent the night at a local motel not far from the crime scene. Later, when police released the sketch of this person of interest, A motel employee from the Super 8 a block or so away recalled that a man fitting that description had checked in on September 4th, but when he checked out the next morning, the man had shaved his head. The Dolly Madison murders, as this crime has become known, deeply divide the town of Great Bend. There are many who claim that the police botched the investigation from the beginning. Some information that has come out in later years seems to support that claim. In a 2002 interview for the documentary The Dolly Madison Murders, Reggie, who was hired to clean up the scene after the investigation, stated that he was ordered to dispose of items he felt should have been kept for evidence. It was also revealed that police did not ask the bakery truck driver to submit his DNA until 20 years later, also in 2022. They did take his shoes and belt the night of the murders, but not his clothes. Police declined to interview the customer that was with the driver looking for his order. 5 years after the murders, after reviewing the video from the neighboring smoke shop, a man with an uncanny likeness to the original composite sketch appeared on video. The KBI admitted they had not taken the time to look through all the video footage during the initial investigation. This man was cleared of any involvement. It was at this time that police asked the surrounding businesses if they had any security footage. As should be obvious, after 5 years, no one had video from the night of the murders. It was also discovered that Pastor Dick Ogle had picked up a man outside the bakery the evening of the murders, taken him to a Bible study group where there were about 10 to 15 others. He was a stranger carrying a large duffel bag. After the Bible study ended, Ogle took him to the edge of town to hitchhike. He did report it to the police, but was never questioned further. Filmmaker Aaron Mull has done a deep dive into the Dolly Madison murders for his documentary that was released in 2023. I've linked his video in the description below. It is worth a look. The case appeared to sit dormant until Mull began investigating for his documentary. It was at that time that Corey Latham, special agent for the Kansas Bureau of Investigation, said in a news conference that a male's DNA was found in a sample taken from one of the victims. He did not say which woman the DNA was taken from. And while they did not find enough DNA to enter it into the National Database of Criminal Offenders, they are hopeful it could be compared to a sample of someone's DNA if they were to find a suspect. Police insist this case is still open and active. They have offered a $17,000 reward for information. If you have any information about the murders of Mandy Alexander or Mary Drake, please contact the Kansas Bureau of Investigation at 1-800-KS-CRIME or online at kbi.ks.gov/SAR. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and may the truth reveal itself in the shadows.